brief introduction to doing lab number 5. It starts off with a pair programming assignment, which is draw a shape. One of the things we want you guys to be thinking about is your user interface and collecting information from a user and validating it. So that's another part of this particular lab. So for your first pair programming, you're going to draw shapes, kind of like we did the draw square in the example of how to do blocks. But what you're going to do is you're going to collect information from the user to have them be able to draw a triangle or a square or a circle. That's a minimum. Each of those three: triangle, square, or circle. If you want to get fancier, you could have an n-gon, and then they could have them input any number like 8, and it would draw an octagon. So you can decide how you want to do it. You have to have at least 3 possibilities. You're going to collect some input from the user. So they might enter a value for 3 for triangle, or maybe have them click on a sprite, and that tells you to draw a triangle. But if they are entering text, like let's say they enter a 3 for triangle, you need to make sure that the value that's collected is actually a 3 or a 4 or whatever you designate for a circle. Like if they put in 17 and that number doesn't make any sense to your code, you need to come back to the user and say, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you please re-input? In other words, it needs to be fail-safe, that whatever the user does doesn't break your code, that if they mess up, you give them a chance to fix their mistake. But you recognize a mistake when they make it. So that's a part of this particular project. And then you're going to draw a shape block. So you're going to create a block that draws shapes. And you can set 2 parameters, num sides and side length. So in other words, if it's a triangle, num size is going to be set equal to 3. And then side length, you get to decide however you want to set it up so that it looks really good on your particular stage. So num sides and side length, you can do 4 for num sides, or 360, or however many you want to draw a circle. You guys can play with that. So then you're going to be calling that block and passing in the parameters, the number of sides, and then how big you want each side to be, and do it in such a way that it looks really good. Then you want to code this particular shape to use the information. Now remember, when you're turning with a square, right, you have to turn 90 degrees. You move and then you turn, move and then turn. So for a square, it's 90 degrees. What is it for a triangle? How much is it going to be for a circle? Like, you have to come up with a formula that allows you to know how many degrees to turn based on the polygon that you've done. Now, we did work on this before, so you go back and look at your polygon notes in some of your earlier labs, and that should help you. Okay, create your program so that somebody can play again. If they do it once, they're allowed to play again. In other words, put it in some sort of a repeat loop or a repeat until loop that allows them to continue to play again. Play around with pen colors and pen widths and sound and anything you can do to kind of make it fun. Your program should clear the drawings each time we start. So you should have a little block in there that just clears whatever it is that you have so far. Okay, so that's your pair programming. Now these 3, 1, 2, and 3, this should just be one Scratch program with each one having a different sprite that has the code that does this. So have one sprite that is going to play around with distance formula, have a different sprite that does this feet to miles or inches conversion, and then this is pretty advanced, and this is some pretty high-level math. So if you're good at this and you like math, then give it a try. This is a really fun thing to calculate, like how much is it going to cost for you to pay for college if you put your kids through college, I don't know, maybe 30 years from now. You can do a future value calculation. It's kind of fun. And then finally, Spirograph. So Spirograph is basically taking the draw your shape code that you did up here, taking this code, and then having it spin around a circle or draw lots of little shapes all over your window. Like, you get to have fun with it, but take that draw a shape code and then embellish it to make it more interesting. And it shouldn't take a lot of code to do that, but you're working with a block you had built once before in something new and creative and useful. And then, of course, don't forget to take time to answer the questions that we have. Okay, good luck.